Dress here, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about a band I wanted to do for a bit, Shok out of the 80s. I'm going to be talking about their album Steel and Starlight. I really like this wildly exciting precision-based intro into leading into the wailing, powerful vocals of Vic Hicks and Go Down Fighting. This song just has great opening energy with gripping riffs and vocals along with some damn hooky bass work. I really like the bass work on this album from Kel Berkshire. He just does an awesome job. You really feel so much of it. I'm going to be talking about the bass quite a bit on this album. I also like the slick style and solo work on this track as well. Really kind of very 80s. You get to feel a lot of wild, stuff going on there, and it's throughout the album as well. But I really like kind of the energy that the solo brought. Definitely goes hand in hand with the energy that Go Down Fighting delivers right off the bat in this track. Then the title track, Steel and Starlight. This one's different. It kind of shifts gears a little bit because I felt it contains like this haze of mystery and allure. I felt that kind of stalks the rainy, dark alleyways, and I attribute that to the tandem of heavier chord progressions, deep bass lines, and the gritty lead riff. I felt like that kind of created a different mood, different tone for Steel and Starlight here. The passion and the grit from Vic Hicks as well, and his vocals kind of elevated certain spots, in my opinion, as well, with that kind of contributing to the stalking allure a little bit, the way he kind of nonchalantly sings it sometimes. Yeah, I felt that kind of added a bit, especially the way he carries his voice and melodies at times. He really does unique things there that kind of really add to the song and add to the melodies in the atmosphere as well of the track. This album changes directions, again with songs like Tokyo Rose and Rocked Out of Love. Definitely more passionate, fiery type of songs, about love and the different types of love that people probably, individuals feel and how they feel it. Like, like a fire from a phoenix when you feel that first touch, or beauty like no other, that you see like a shooting star in the sky. And that's kind of what I get from Tokyo Rose and Rocked Out of Love, these different kind of varying loves from these two songs. And it kind of changes the gears of the album from how we started with Go Down Fighting and Steel and Starlight. But then this next track I want to talk about, Castle Walls, this one really changes gears for the album, really changes the atmosphere and emotions in many different ways, and kind of shows a different light to Shok and their how they write in their compositions here in Castle Walls. I really felt like there was this sorrow and uncertainty and this darkness that was captured in the intro, and that intro really painted this visual for me of being hauled away and left in the dark, wet cells for years, trapped behind these castle walls. That's what I got. And then the song kind of bursts forward and comes to life just a little bit, but the darkness is still there. I felt that there was a bit of hope in the powerful riffs and the passionate vocals from Vic Hicks and his screams that kind of yell and tell me that the soul has not been broken yet, and he's still fighting for freedom. That's kind of the hope that I get out of those riffs that burst into the song there. It could, there's definitely, it feels like it could be a metaphor for so many different things I felt out of this track, and I kind of like that mystery that is there, and it kind of goes along with the atmosphere of the song as well. So it could be like a mental castle wall, or like a literal figuratively castle wall, and different things like that, or any sort of one. So I thought this song has a lot of mystery, and I really like that the music and the vocals and everything kind of come together to kind of paint that visually. For me, that's what I got out of Castle Walls. Then we're going on to my must listen to. I love this song. The reason why I got into Shok was actually from a suspense horror movie called The Hidden. And this song is like the opening scene, is in the opening scene with it. And I just heard it and I was like, this is hilarious, this is awesome. I really love On Your Feet, and it's my must listen because it's full of pulse pounding, full throttle energy that just makes me want to rage down the road. Kind of like that scene in The Hidden. I love the grip between the sharp guitar work and the crafty bass. Those two things coming together are really awesome. You really get to feel a lot of lower end and high energy from those two guys merging together. I really felt like they strengthened each other's potency in the song. I love how the bass really moves along with the lead nicely. You don't really feel hear a lot of bass that moves around that much and hitting notes and kind of dancing around the fretboard. That's something maybe a bit more like Steve Harris and Iron Maiden would do, and in Queensryche. But you really get to feel it here, and it adds such a unique dynamic to the song. You really get to feel that bass, and it kind of pops, like I said, pops the lead, and it also kind of grooves along with the rhythm and things nicely as well. So he's really all over the place, Kel is, on this one, doing his bass work. Absolutely unforgettable bass stuff, and I really felt that it did a lot to really amplify the song, elevate things as well. Also, On Your Feet, can't forget the wickedly memorable pre-chorus and chorus. It's just easy to belt out the lyrics. You just feel them. Vic Hicks just like yells them, and certain syllables and words, it gets you fiery and pumped up, and that's why On Your Feet is my must listen to. Just don't be driving too fast while you're listening to it. This next one has awesome, crucial nuances that I felt like bring strong emotions to life in Falling For You. It just screams of emotional heartache, I felt, and I kind of got lost in the limbo of the dark dystopian streets with tight, dark lead chords and some really powerful vocal melodies in there. I felt like this song it had a dark atmosphere to it that kind of reminded me of the title track, Steel and Starlight, but still had its own identity. And I felt like also it was the yin, or the yang to the yin, or the yin to the yang of Rocked Out of Love. Kind of had the opposite feeling musically and atmospherically of Rocked Out of Love. They're on the different sides of the spectrum. Really interesting track. There's a lot of little nuances in there that I really like from the guitar, and the drums too. The drums didn't stand out in a really dynamic way. For some reason, the volume and the way things were delivered kind of hit differently for me, especially in the chorus. I'm not quite sure why, but it kind of just was more impactful for some reason. The drums, the way they were on Falling For You, really awesome track in my opinion. Kind of coming into the second half after On Your Feet. One thing I liked that Shok Paris did was how they created several varying song types. They have like a lot of songs that are kind of like intense, faster, speedy stuff like that. But I really like what they did with Exhibit A and Hot on Your Heels. They do have that similarity to some of the other songs, but they also have their own identity. Both songs have great tempos, riveting lead work, and great, awesome rhythm energy, exceptional soaring vocals. Vic Hicks does an awesome job. I love the power that he delivers. Sweet little drum timing hitches and powerful details to add to the volume of both tracks. I really like the lyrics of Exhibit A. I felt like they were from a different perspective, the way those were written in Exhibit A. But awesome tracks to kind of close out the album towards the end. Really kind of keeps the listener gripped. And I liked like I said, all the varying differences that Shok Paris kind of showcased on this album. Even though there's some similarities, there's still a lot of differences, and all the songs had their own identity in different ways, and I thought that was really impressive of them. It's too bad they didn't get more attention, because I think this album really does stand out in the 80s compared to a lot of stuff that was more popular at the time, with similar vibes, similar feeling, and musical dynamic as Shok Paris had. So it's kind of too bad that they didn't get more attention from this album, but there's just a lot to really soak up on it. The lead guitar work, the impressive vocal work from Vic Hicks. But the bass work was really awesome as well. Like I said, it was like Steve Harris. It just had such volume and technical ability throughout that really kind of grabs the listener in another way. It adds another dynamic, in my opinion. So feel free to check out Shok Paris. All the links to the songs will be down in the description below, like my must listen to, and I'll see what else I can kind of put up down there if they have a website. Until next time, folks, how about some heavy listening?